Hey guys, it's Kyle. Before you start the episode, I wanted to leave you with a content warning just to let you know that we do discuss the following topics of suicide, self harm, and drug abuse. Please enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Art of Messing Up podcast. My name is Kyle and I am your host. Today I will be sitting down with Skyler Gifford over Zoom to be talking about his journey of where he started to where he is now. I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. This is episode 1 and it starts right now.
Sure.
All right, guys, I'm with Skyler Gifford today and we will be sitting down talking about his story. Hey, Skyler, how are you?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. So I found you on TikTok and I found your number and I had called you and we were texting back and forth and I was telling you I was starting up a podcast and we kind of went into it a little bit and you were like, I have an awesome story for the podcast. I would love to share it. And here we
Yeah,
are
I would
today.
love to help you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So tell us your story.
Well, I'll go all the way back. So I'm Skyler Gifford. I am currently 20 years old. I was born in California. As many of you guys go through, once I hit my teenage years, it got really hard for me for a really long time. I went into this like really, really dark place and I didn't know how to get myself out of it. It was very challenging as like most people feel, they feel alone. And, I became very secluded to a lot of people. Um, and at the time I didn't really know who to talk to because I just had myself. I was getting severely bullied at my school and I was getting like my head shoved into lockers. I was getting jumped in the middle of like the hallways. Like it was insane the amount of stuff that I was going through at that one time.
Did you grow up
And
with any like siblings?
oh yeah. If you guys want to know, yeah, I have a younger brother and a younger sister as well.
Okay.
So I'm the oldest one. So it's been like my duty to like watch out for everyone and just make sure that they are okay.
Take care of them almost.
Yeah, I don't want them to have to go through something like that. It was insane. So now for me, like ever since then, I've been like driven and wanting to give back to the people that I care about and the friends that I have because like I wanna protect them. I don't want them to feel as alone as many of you do. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that makes complete sense. So let's bring it back to like when you were younger and like
Yeah.
so like how old were you when everything started to happen and what happened?
So I was actually 13 years old. Um, it didn't happen all at once. It was like a gradual thing. I had just gotten out of I think it was sixth grade, so I was going into middle school, right?
Hmm.
And I was going to like a completely new school. I had a bunch of friends. I was very excited because I was still going to be around them and experience something new. So I was like super excited for this. And once I got into that school, all of it changed. All my friends started dropping me. One of my really really good friends started becoming a dealer and hanging out with this really bad group of people, and it felt like I didn't know them anymore. And it was crazy because I grew up my entire life with them. It's like having someone so close to you change in an instant.
Yeah. And what was that? What did it look like at home, like to your family? Like how was it? How did it affect that?
Yeah. It was crazy because I didn't want to tell anyone. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know myself at that point. I didn't know who to talk to. Like my parents, my dad was a hardcore alcoholic and he was downing bottles every day, and it became a very bad place in my house. So I was retreating to my room after school. I was just going straight there. I didn't talk to anyone. It got to the point where I wasn't eating. I would go 2 to 3 days without eating anything. Um, but so things started getting out, and I was like, okay, well, I need to change this so no one knows what's going on. So it went from having to get to the point where I wasn't eating straight to cutting. So I started cutting at a really young age. And that became my coping mechanism because it was like that was all I could control at that point. Um and eventually right before like this huge thing, which I'll get into in a second, happened, I came out of my class and I was walking down the hallway. I get thrown into a locker and jumped by 5 people at one time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was probably the scariest thing that I've ever been through because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I would be able to get up and get away. I was just on the ground, blacked out at that point. So I got home. Uh, the principal saw me. She knew what was going on. She didn't do anything about it. She basically just sent me back to class with 2 black eyes.
Gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah, blamed it on me. All the kids got off, but I was so scared that night. I hung myself and tried to take my own life at the age of 14.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. I, the next week I went straight, like literally the day after, I was put straight into a rehab facility to try to get me on medications that would try to fix my mental state.
So your family kind of found out about everything that was
Yeah.
happening. What does that look
Yeah.
like when they found out, and like how were they supportive? Like what did that look like for you?
They really were super supportive. It was mainly that they were scared. They didn't know how to help me. I was like, it felt like a huge war was just randomly started, and I was just put in the middle of everything. It
It's
was.
like the world is moving around you and there's nothing you can do about it almost.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
I I was in the facility for I think 2 weeks.
Okay.
Um,
What was that
so
like?
I don't know if like you've ever been to one or anything, but it is weird. Like it is a whole different ball game. Like there's people from all walks of life that are going through things.
Was it pediatric or were you mixed in with adults? What did that look like?
It was a mix between teenagers and adults.
Okay.
So it was like one of those wards where they would have multiple groups of people. So they would split the dorms. It was a group of teenagers on one dorm for like guys and girls, and then the other dorm was all adults, so everyone 18 and over.
Okay.
Um, so during the day, you'd have like group counseling and therapy and stuff like that, and you'd meet with a psychiatric person, and they would try to prescribe you medications, and they would watch over you for X amount of days to make sure that the medications were helping and that you were in a better state to go back out into society.
Okay. And during the time that you were at this place, were you getting visits from your family? Like, were you able to see your
Yeah,
siblings? What did that look like?
it was really nice. I had multiple visits with my mom and my dad just to, make me feel less like I was crazy in this like
Yeah.
whole different place where I didn't know anyone and I was like scared to talk to people. Um, and actually, funny, I met a girl in there. Her name was Haley, who was my best friend for so many years because we were forced into this place together and
Yeah.
we were able to overcome it, which was super cool.
That's amazing. So talk to me more about like what that was like with your siblings. Because
Yeah,
it sounds like you guys are super close and like you're protective over them. And now you're put in this position where you can't protect them. You have to kind of take a step back and stop worrying about them for a minute and focus on you and getting yourself
yeah.
to a better place.
It was very, very interesting because for so long I would try to focus on other people because I'm like a very selfless person. So whenever I had the chance or opportunity, I would always put all my energy into the other people that I had around me just to make sure that they were okay. So when I was forced into this position where I had to make sure I was okay, it was very different because I wasn't getting the help that I needed from other people. I was just kind of doing it for myself. So it took a while to actually understand that I was not in a good headspace and really focus on and my energy and what I needed to overcome, the challenges, which at that point I was just cutting. So I wasn't really doing anything quite like bad to hurt myself at that point. I was just more of doing it to control my pain.
Okay.
But after that is when I really started to, I ended up going back again a year later. Because I also tried to kill myself. So I started using more pain medicine and I started using prescription drugs.
How
But
did you get it? How did you get into that? Like what led to
um,
that?
same thing kind of. I at the time I thought I was a lot better than I was. I was moving forward and I guess it just things happen. I don't know. I just snapped one night and I was just super in my like depressing state and I ended up ODing and they just brought me back to make sure that I was, back to square one, getting the help that I needed when I thought it was okay.
What did that look like for you sitting inside that hospital? Like after you thought, all right, I'm good, we're getting back to where I need to be. And
Yeah.
then you have like, what did that look like for you?
It was very scary because I told myself I'm never going to do this again. I'm just going to keep moving forward. I'm good. I have all the tools that I thought I needed. I was going to therapy, I was going to counseling every week. I was meeting so many good positive people. Um
Was it
so it
like a
was
group? It
really
was group counseling?
yeah, well, it started out as group counseling, yeah,
Okay.
and then it moved to more like individualized therapy with counselors and just like teachers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um but when I was back in there and I was like, wow, this is like not what I planned at all. Like I thought I was going to be such a better person for those people that really care about me and that need me, and I was still failing and I was still struggling. So it was, yeah, it was difficult.
And that I assume would affect the way that what did it have effect on your family wise at home? Like you
Yeah.
being like in and out, like what was that like? Were they understanding? Were they
Yeah, for a while it was kind of hard because I was like a loose cannon on them. They didn't really know what to think about me. They were really really worried and they always felt that they were like walking on eggshells.
okay?
So I was trying my hardest to make them feel that they didn't need to worry about me as much. I was doing everything that I could to, make them feel more comfortable. Uh, and really just provide like a false sense of security because I was still struggling, but I didn't want them to know that I was. I
It's
think
like
that's the most difficult thing about people who are going through depression and anxiety or who are abusing drugs or just in really bad homes. They don't want to put that onto other people. They want to store it inside so it doesn't hurt others. I think that's the most challenging thing.
it's almost like you want to come off as strong and you don't want people to worry about you because you've already been worried about enough. It's like why put them through
Right.
something? Why put them through more than they already have to be put through already?
Right, right, right. I think I think the real turning point for me though was like we were talking before the show, you were
Yeah.
telling me all about your like your background and what you like to do. You're a huge theater person and
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's actually what got me out too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I yeah, I started my parents were like, we need to find a very positive outlet for you because we don't want to keep worrying about you and the fact that we don't know if you'll live to see tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I was put into acting and theater and I started vocal lessons, I started singing, and that was really where I found my group of people and where I felt most safe and secured. And it was honestly such an amazing thing to finally feel like I wasn't alone.
That's amazing. I'm just going to hold
Yeah.
that right there for 1 second. We're just going to take a quick listen to our sponsor for today, and we will be right back. Hey guys, it's Kyle. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Anchor is free and also provides you with creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And get this, Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it could be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other streaming platforms.